Hello and welcome to Rebecca's Kitchen. My name is Rebecca, I'm Gavin's wife, and well, now's my turn to make some food. Because we're living here in Germany, I try to give my husband a bit of a home feeling, so I sometimes try to do some traditional English or British food. This time we're doing a fish pie, and in front of me we have all the ingredients we need for it, except the potato mash. We do this later. So what we have here is we have spring onions,
okay,
a bit of butter, flour, roughly half a pint of milk, whole milk, some garlic, then we have some chives here, dried, grated cheese. Usually you use cheddar, but because we don't have cheddar in Germany, this is Gouda. You can use every cheese you want. Then we have some chopped up carrots and mustard. You can use every mustard you want. So this is a mix of German Löwensenf and Coleman's mustard. You can also use Dijon senf, which goes very well with fish. We have some salt and pepper here, and now the main ingredients. We have scallops, which we already seared. And then we have 3 different kinds of fish. We have salmon here. In the middle, this is Pangasius fillet, and here on the side this is cod. But you can use every fish you like as long as it can swim. So I think we start cooking then. So now we start cooking. First thing, the oil we seared the scallops in is reused in this pot, and I put a bit of olive oil in. This is hot now, and we put the spring onions in first and fry them up a bit, just for the flavor.
It smells really good.
Yes, the spring onions, they are not as spicy as normal onions, but they have a lot of flavor.
And they have a unique flavour as well, don't they? There's nothing quite tastes quite like a spring onion.
No, that's true. And they go very well with fish.
Absolutely.
So I reduced the heat a bit now, so they don't burn, but get fried nicely.
Okay, yeah, I can already see the colour is beginning to brown now, isn't it?
Yeah, so in a few seconds I will take it out, and they go in later again.
So what does that do? Does that flavour the oil that's left in the pan?
It flavours the oil, of course, but it also is for the spring onions, so they are not going into the fish pie when they're raw.
So it's kind of like searing them in a way.
Yeah, I think so. So I take them out now. And like I said, we are using the spring onions later again. So now we take a bit of butter, put it in. I'm not, I don't like these correct measurements, so I think it's roughly 30-40 grams of butter. Let it melt down. Oh, you can smell the butter.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can smell the butter now merging with the flavour that's left in the pan from the spring onions.
Yeah. As soon as the butter is melted completely, you can put in some flour and make kind of a thick paste.
So something like a roux sauce then?
I think so. I don't know what it is, but yes.
Okay, good.
So now adding the milk, so we can have a nice sauce. Don't put it in all at once, because then the sauce will be lumpy. That's nothing we want.
That already smells very good.
I hope it tastes good. It's my first try to make a fish pie, and I hope I make you happy with it.
I think my wife loves me.
Oh, sometimes. No, I do. So what I can already see is that this half pint of milk is not enough.
Okay. So do you need me to get you some more milk?
Oh no, I'm well prepared, so I have more milk next to me, just in case.
Okay, you seem to be a lot more prepared than I am when I'm cooking.
Yeah, I like to be prepared when I'm cooking. It's just, I don't like rushing around or anything like this. So, yeah, I think I'm prepared quite well. So we add some more milk, 3.5% fat.
Okay, in the UK that would be something close to whole milk.
How much fat has whole milk in the UK?
4%.
4%.
And semi-skimmed, that's 2%.
So it's something in between.
Yeah, but here the semi-skimmed is 1.5%, isn't it?
Yes, that's true.
So there you go, folks. We know that the British have slightly fatter milk.
Oh yeah, I once tried this this really fatty milk. It had about 5%.
Yeah, that was that Jersey Gold Top milk, wasn't it? That Harvey and Orm recommended to us.
Yeah, that's true. It was really fatty. It had a cream top, and when you put it in a cup or a glass, whatever you like, you can see this cream pieces floating around.
Yeah, I know, it's like, but that's the old-fashioned milk that we are used to, you know? And now we have all this filtered and homogenized milk.
Oh.
And you can't see the layers of fat in it. But I suppose, you know, it's what you get used to when you grow up, isn't it?
I think so. Well, I got, my mom always bought this 3.5% milk, but when I grew older, I bought the 1.5% milk. That's absolutely enough if you don't drink it just as milk, if you mix it with chocolate powder or anything.
Well, that looks and smells really good so far.
So far?
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out, huh?
So what we do next is we put the next ingredients in and hope the smell is getting better and better and better. So the next that goes in is the cheese.
Okay. And I think you have to be careful with the cheese, don't you, a little bit? That it doesn't all form in one clump.
Oh, you have to stir it. Stir it and let it melt. And
I know that Rebecca's really good at this because you've made lots of things like this before, haven't you?
like,
Well, you normally make those auflauf and those kinds of things.
yeah.
An auflauf is basically an oven-baked kind of thing, something like a pie without pastry. There isn't really an English word.
Well, you can put everything inside you like. Potatoes, pasta, chicken, pork.
Look at the consistency of that now.
Yeah.
Rebecca, can you lift the whisk up a second to just show people how... Wow, look at that.
That's the cheese.
That is sexy.
I'm tempted to put some more milk inside so it gets a bit more runny.
Yeah, it's quite...
Because the cheese is not melted yet completely, so...
It's sticking up quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You have to remember as well, it's not a big problem to put too much milk in. If you put too much milk in, of course, you can always reduce the sauce by simmering it later on, can't you? And then it'll get thicker again. So the biggest problem is when you don't put enough fluid inside and then you start burning things in the pan.
That's nothing we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, as you see, I can use both of my hands to stir things.
What would be the next ingredient going in?
Next, a few things go inside. Will be the chives, the garlic and the mustard.
Okay. Why using dried chives? Is it worth using fresh chives, do you think? Or does it make much of a difference?
I actually think that if you have fresh chives, you should use the fresh ones because they still have a little bit more flavor. But yeah, if you don't use chives so often, you can buy the dried one and they still have some flavor and it's good to store.
Do you have to use more chives if you have the wet ones? Do you think the dried ones have more flavour, it's more concentrated, or...?
No, I don't think you need to use more. The thing is, because they're dry, as soon as they get some liquid, they will be okay again.
Okay.
So you see, it's thicken up again.
Yeah, that looks absolutely wonderful.
So, like I said, now the garlic goes inside.
I'm so glad that you added the garlic later and didn't put it in with the spring onions.
Why?
Well, the thing is, garlic was quite bitter when it's burnt, doesn't it? And there's always a temptation with chefs, even, you know, really professional chefs. There's this temptation to put the oil in, to put the garlic in the hot oil first. And yeah, if you get it wrong and you burn it, it kind of ruins the dish, you know? And then you have to start again. And there's no problem with putting the garlic in later.
So the chives are in. Never forget to stir. This is the most important thing. Otherwise, everything gets burnt on the bottom.
And I can see now that's making a difference to the colour as well. It's kind of...
Yeah, it looks a bit like...
It looks a little bit like a really wet mashed potato, I guess, huh?
Yeah, or a cheese with some herbs inside.
It kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have to try to remember what you're doing now, because we could make another recipe from this kind of sauce, couldn't we?
Oh. So now the mustard goes in. You would see a colour difference, I guess, with this yellow stuff.
Could you remind us again, please, about which mustard you used?
I used Löwensenf, German Löwensenf, and a bit of Coleman mustard. The Coleman mustard is It's more spicy than the... I used medium Löwenzahn. Of course you get spicy one, but I don't want it to be too spicy. So I made a mix of both. So you have flavor and spice all in all, but not too spicy. You see it's turning into a bit yellow. And I can smell the mustard now.
Yeah, I tell you what, from here, behind the camera, it smells really good.
So now, spring onions go back inside.
I'm just imagining the flavour now. I can kind of smell right in the background the seared scallops. It's coming through one nostril, and this sauce is coming through the other nostril, which is quite interesting. If you're standing where I am now, you'd be amazed.
So as you see, I changed my tool now from a whisk to a spoon, because you don't need to whisk anymore. Just turn it around, and for that a spoon is absolutely enough. So now the carrots go inside.
Okay. Is there a reason why you cut them so small? Does it make a difference if you cut them into like slices or?
Yeah, it makes a difference, because as thicker or bigger the pieces are, the longer they take to cook through. So especially for this, because it's just cooking a little while, not so long, and it goes in the oven then. You shouldn't use too thick and too big pieces.
I suppose with a carrot as well, because they're like a funny shape. When you slice them, as you get towards the bottom, you end up with a smaller piece, don't you? And then they don't cook evenly. Yeah. That's what I find, at least, anyway.
So you can already see the consistency and the nice colors.
Yeah, I know, that looks absolutely beautiful.
You can add every veg you want inside, like peas or corn. My husband doesn't like peas or corn, so we don't put it inside. That's the reason why you put carrots.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, or I was about to explain why, there are no peas. You can use peas, you can use sweet corn. Yeah, I don't know, for me it's not necessary in a fish pie.
I like peas, so they should go in a fish pie.
Yeah, but Rebecca, you're making it for me, aren't you? So
I didn't put any peas inside, so don't complain. So now we take some salt and pepper.
Okay. Is that sea salt?
This is sea salt, yeah. You should use sea salt because it's fish. Fish comes from the sea, so use sea salt.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's not that Himalayan sea salt, is it, that you see around?
Where do you get sea salt up from a hill?
Yeah, I know. It's that's a joke, though, isn't it? You see this Himalayan sea salt advert like early in the morning on these channels, on these shopping channels.
So, and every time, just stir it, and so it doesn't get stuck on the bottom. And the last ingredient that goes inside now will be the fish. When the fish is in, just let it boil or heat up for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Something between 3 and 5 minutes, depends on the size of the pieces you cut in the fish. Okay. You can use fresh fish, as we did, or in Britain you can buy ready chopped up fish.
Yeah, you can buy bags of mixed salmon and things like that. So
yes, you can use both, whatever you want, whatever you feel comfortable with.
But it seems to me to be quite a pity if you live near the sea and you use frozen fish. It's just, if you live near the sea, you should try to get fresh fish, shouldn't you? I mean, we're hundreds of miles from the sea, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's also a question of money, isn't it? Because fresh fish is much more expensive than frozen fish.
Yeah, I know, but the quality is
The
there,
quality is much better, but yeah, if you don't have so much money, you shouldn't be afraid of using frozen stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So you see, this goes inside, and just keep on stirring so it doesn't burn on the bottom.
They're quite large pieces. What would be the problem if you used smaller pieces? Would it make much of a difference, do you think?
For me, yes, because the one thing is, if you eat something, you want to eat the pieces, don't you? So if you eat a fish pie, you should see that there's fish inside and not just flakes.
Yeah.
And if you use smaller pieces, you are quicker with cooking them, but because they're flaking, you can be you can have this problem that they flake too much and you just have no pieces left.
Yeah, okay, I guess so. And I suppose as well, if you had smaller pieces, you know, a lot more water would leak out into the sauce and that kind of stuff as well, wouldn't it? So I kind of I think like you do, you know, with larger pieces, okay, there's less surface area to work on, but they keep a lot more flavour inside, don't they? So you know, it doesn't the flavour doesn't leak out everywhere, and that already looks amazing. So would you you know, give us a drip off the spoon? And you can see the salmon's already you know, began to turn colour, hasn't it? So
yeah, it's begun, but it's not cooked through yet. So
no, of course not. But you know, the it's going to be cooked in the oven, isn't it? So
yeah. But when this is ready, we put it in the form where it should be and let it rest and cool down a bit. Then we make the mash and put it on top, and then it goes in the oven. So it doesn't go in the oven straight away.
Okay. Yeah, and it does need a little bit of cool down time, because of course if I put the mash straight on top of that as well, you know, the mash could sink into it, and we don't really want that to happen, do we?
No, we don't want that to happen. We want it to mix. We want the mash as a top layer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm dreaming about this pie now. Again, like I said, in one nostril I have this the scallops, the seared scallops, and yeah, this delicious thing as well. And it really does. I mean, it's a pity that we can't reproduce this smell.
Yeah.
For the viewers.
Not 4D yet.
Mm.
One thing I have to say about scallops is you don't need to use scallops. They are very, very expensive. So you can go to the cheaper version and put normal mussels inside.
Okay.
I think
that's an interesting point.
And
what about something like prawns or something?
Yeah, you can add
flavors,
prawns. You can add both prawns and mussels. Like I said, you can put everything inside which swims in the sea.
Okay. Good. So this needs a couple of minutes then before it goes into the tray then, does it?
Yeah. I think 2 more minutes and then we can put it in a tray.
Okay, good.
So the pie filling is about ready, and as you can see, we already put the scallops inside of the form because because we seared them first, they don't need to cook in this ready sauce. So now what I'm doing now is I put the sauce into this and let it rest. And we already had a little bit of a try from this filling, and it was delicious.
Oh yes, it was.
I can smell the mustard.
I can smell all of it now. It smells really, really good.
So it's inside, now I've flattened it a bit. So we have good base for the potato mash. You can see the carrots and the fish here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get a nice little zoom on it. Okay, yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. What we just tasted, I know it is fantastic, you know, and I think then after it's been in the oven for some time, it's developed a little bit more flavour. We put the mashed potato on top, of course, which will go with it. Yeah, I mean it's quite a decadent meal though, isn't it? I mean, for a slimmer, this probably wouldn't be a good choice, would it? Somebody who's trying to trying to get their beach body.
No, I don't think so. It's because of this thick sauce. Fish is always healthy, of course, but because of this thick sauce, you can't really lose weight on it. Maybe put on, I don't know.
Okay.
Another suggestion is, if you don't want to put mashed potato on top, you can also use pastry and make a nice cover on it, whatever you like.
Okay, I'm kind of more a fan of the mashed potato. I think that is something for a fish pie. And I think, yeah, fish pie doesn't necessarily go with pastry. But if, of course, if you prefer pastry, yeah, why not? Yeah, do your own thing. Hello everyone, so this is Gavin. I'm about to start the mashed potato, okay? So here I have about 2 kilograms of potatoes chopped up. They're about the same size as you would do normal roast potatoes. Okay, these are the Nadines that we brought back from Wales. And I've got some water already boiled from the kettle, so I'm going to get that. Before I do that, I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of salt, which seems a little bit excessive, but actually it's not, because we're not going to be adding salt to the potatoes during the mashing process. Okay.
And the Nadine potatoes, they have a bit of a sweet flavour.
Yeah, they are quite sweet. I mean, we made jack potatoes the other day, and they were really quite sweet, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm just going to get the boiled water from the kettle now, if you just bear with me a second. Okay. So, and this is 1.5 litres of boiling water. Again, hopefully it will cover the potatoes. Yeah, just about. Okay, good. So remember, 1.5 litres of boiling water, 2 kilograms of potatoes, and a tablespoon of salt for the boil. Okay, see you in a minute.
Go.
Okay, so now we have the mashed potato ready. It's already cooked. Yeah. So now I'm going to add about 150 grams of butter. Okay. That's more butter than I'd normally use. And I'm only using 200 millilitres of cream. The reason for this, more butter than cream than normal, is because we want this potato to be quite firm. We don't want to make a classic mashed potato, not the kind of mashed potato that you have with sausage and mash, or with a Sunday roast. Okay, so like I said, I can't say that enough. I want this mashed potato to be quite firm. It will be fluffy, but it's going to be full of mashed potato flavour. Yeah? Okay, so first of all, I'm running the butter through. Okay, and I'm just going to do this roughly. I'm not going to be that thorough with it. And it doesn't matter if there are a few lumps in there, because it's for the pie, you know, it's not for your classic Sunday roast. Okay, and these potatoes, they do look a little bit pale. The Nadines, they are kind of quite pale compared to the, you know, your normal average potatoes. They're really sweet. I'm not adding any seasoning to this. I'm not adding salt or pepper. Okay. The reason for this is, you know, I don't really want to overpower the pie with the mashed potato flavour. Okay, so I'm just checking that it's not too greasy. Hopefully everything's going to be mixed in really nicely. Sorry if that's a little bit loud for the camera. I'm going to put my elbow into it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to make a little dip in the center. And I'm going to drop the cream in. Okay, and I'm just going to move it around a little bit. And the heat from the potatoes will actually condense the cream. Okay, it looks a little bit runny at the moment, but as I begin to mash that, you'll see it will start to firm up. And it will be a lot less lumpy.
I actually like a few lumps in my mashed potato.
Well, the good thing is if you go anywhere, like I do too, and you know, if you go anywhere to like a restaurant or anything like that, and people, you know, they often complain about having lumpy mashed potato, but
I think that's a sign they made it made a good mashed potato, not from a packet.
Exactly that. You know, you can tell then, you know, when there's lumps in it, that you know, they've made it in house. Okay, and it does look a little bit thin at the moment. In retrospect, maybe I could have used a little less cream, but you know, this is going to be full of really potato flavour, you know. Okay, so we'll come back when we're ready to put the mash onto the pie.
So now the mashed potato is ready. We put it onto the fish pie filling. You can either just put it on and make any picture on it, or you do it like we do it in this bag and just make it look quite nice. It's a lot of work, but in the end, when it comes out of the oven, it looks good.
Yeah, it's already starting to look good. It's starting to look like a pie. So you cook for me quite often, love, but what made you decide on a fish pie?
I don't know, I've seen this recipe, and because I've never had a fish pie, I thought it would be a nice idea to make you one. You know, as I said in the beginning, I sometimes like to give you a little taste of home, and that's, for me, that's the way to do it. Like doing this fish pie or doing Yorkshire puddings with the salmon.
Yeah, Yorkshire puddings is something that you've mastered quite well, isn't it? And you didn't take long to master Yorkshire puddings, did you?
No, it's interesting for me is when I do something like this, which I don't know before and which is not traditional here in Germany, I'm quite good in it. Like we did on Christmas with the lava cakes.
Yeah, I know. I was quite surprised with how well the lava cakes turned out. I'm sure we're gonna do a video on that as well, aren't we? So
yeah.
But going back to Yorkshire puddings, many people, you know, including British people, have difficulty with Yorkshire puddings, getting them to sort of rise and set. What is your advice for getting them to rise and to set?
Well, hard to say, actually. I think if you're not so confident with Yorkshire puddings, You should put some more eggs inside than you would usually do.
Okay.
And yeah, that will help. But what also is not the worst idea is give the dough a little bit of time to rest, and always stir it in between. Like I don't know, about 4 hours or something. So you start the dough, let it rest for half an hour, stir it again, let it rest for half an hour, stir it again, let it rest for half an hour, for 4 hours. Don't put it in the fridge or anything like this, but I think that's the best advice I can give.
And what about the fat then? Because, you know, some people say, you know, traditional recipes use lard or pork fat, and people say you can use sunflower oil or butter or things like that. I mean...
I actually can't tell you if you can use sunflower oil or anything like this, because I don't do it. I use normal pork fat.
Okay. And do you need to get the fat like really smoking hot before you put them in?
Yes. When I put the fat in the oven, well, the form with the fat inside, I don't take the tray out before it's not steaming.
Okay. So what would happen then if you don't, when you don't get the fat hot enough?
I think it will mix with the dough, and it doesn't help the Yorkshires to rise.
Okay.
Not sure about it, but I think so. The thing is, if you put in the Yorkshire dough into the really hot pork fat, then you can already on the table see that it starts bubbling on the outside of the dough.
Okay.
And I think that's the way it should be.
Okay, so for anybody watching this, when you're doing Yorkshire puddings, make sure your tray is hot and the fat is beginning to smoke. And you know, if you have trouble with your batter or your dough, maybe add extra egg to the mix.
The more eggs you add, the thicker the dough will be, but it tastes eggy, yes, but
Okay.
they rise quite well.
Okay. That's an interesting point. I look forward to our next video on Yorkshire puddings. I think we'll have to do a video doing a full Sunday roast.
Oh my god, I have to give my secret recipe for
Well,
Yorkshire puddings.
we cut out the quantities maybe. Okay, that looks absolutely fabulous. I mean, that looks brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to...
I'm just filling the gaps now.
Okay. Why is it important to fill the gaps?
Oh, is it important? I don't know. It just looks nicer.
Okay.
For me, it does. I don't know. Is it important to fill the gaps?
I'm not too sure, but I'm thinking maybe if you know, the liquid rises, it could come out of the gaps. It can happen sometimes, but I'm not sure it's that essential. But it looks absolutely beautiful, in all fairness.
Did you expect something else from my cooking?
No, of course not. I keep you to high standards, so...
Oh, you keep me to high standards.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. One thing to point out, we didn't use all of the mashed potato, but I think it's not necessary. I mean, basically, the only thing we've done with the potato really is make a crust for the pie, haven't we? And we could have used pastry. It doesn't matter. And the mashed potato won't go to waste. We'll use it for something else.
Like eating?
Like eating, yeah. Yeah, I know, you like my mashed potato, don't you?
Yes, I do.
But it's not quite the standard mashed potato, is it?
No, it's not, but doesn't mean it's bad.
Okay. So, how long will that need in the oven, do you think?
Well, it depends. I think it depends on the time you rested the fish pie filling. the hotter it is when you put it back in the oven, the less time you need. This was resting for quite a while, so I think about half an hour. If it's hotter, then I think between 20 and 25 minutes. And I think you can see in the oven when the crust is getting like brownish.
Yeah.
Then you can see is alright. If you have an electric oven, use the fan on 220 degrees.
Okay, 220 degrees centigrade. Celsius.
Celsius.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I was in Fahrenheit. So if any Americans are watching, you have to do the converting yourself.
If you have a gas oven, which is quite common in the UK, put it on number 9.
Number 9?
Yeah.
Okay. That seems to be...
It's quite hot.
Maybe there aren't any ovens with number 9 still. I don't know.
Well, then they have a problem. They can't do a fish pie.
Okay. So, rough guide, 220 degrees for about half an hour if you let the pie rest. And, yeah, we see how it comes out. Another point I'd like to make, don't worry too much about, you hear these horror stories about food poisoning from fish and all that kind of stuff.
If it's cooked?
Actually, if it's cooked long enough, there will not be a problem.
No,
Yeah.
I think the problem is more like if you have these dishes where the fish is rare, medium rare, something like this. But as soon as you cook the fish through completely, there shouldn't be any problem.
Okay, good. So let's get this in the oven and then see how it turns out.
Okay, see you when it's ready. So, the fish pie is ready, out of the oven. As you see, it has a nice brown crust on it, where the mashed potato is. And you can still see where I made these little, whatever you call it. In English, I don't know, crowns.
Okay. Yeah, we call them that, crowns. Okay. Yeah. No, it looks really, really good. I mean, the colour, so you've got like... the peaks are quite dark.
Yeah, they're not burnt. They're not black or anything. So I think it's quite okay.
Okay. Yeah, they're not black. And if I come a little bit closer rather than zoom in. Yeah, I mean, there's quite contrast, isn't there, between the colours from the peaks right down to the base. Yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic. But I guess the proof now is actually opening it up, isn't it? So
you want to dig inside?
Yeah, dig in. Yeah. It's your pie, love. So I'd like you to cut into it. It just seems such a pity, doesn't it? But
yeah, I don't want to. I'll just leave it like this.
Yeah, but it's not made for the museum, is it? It's made for eating. So no. Okay, so you take a nice big piece of the pie.
Well, what you see is it is quite soft.
Yeah, of course it would be, as you'd expect, huh? Okay.
So there you see.
Okay.
This is the ready fish pie.
Yeah, just hold it there for a second. It looks good. I can already smell good. It's good because then I can see the steam coming off it.
Yeah, that means it's hot.
Yeah. And smelly. No, it smells delicious, honestly. Would you like to do the honours and take the first bite?
I don't have... No, I don't. That's yours.
Okay. Right. Would you like to take the camera off me then for a moment? I have a fork here, so I can... I can actually take this bite. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this is a trick. If you want to taste something that's really hot, run it up the plate, because the plate is cold. Okay, and then take a small piece, and I'm going for the sauce from here. And now that's going to be cool enough to put in my mouth. That's incredible. The greatest flavour I get from that, instantly, is the spring onion. But as the flavour is developing in my mouth now, I can taste the fish, I can taste the scallops. I can taste everything that's in that dish. I can absolutely taste everything that's in that dish, including the potatoes, which is quite weird, huh?
So, and now you have to say, well done.
Yeah, well done, Rebecca. It's absolutely fantastic. It's lovely. Okay?
Thank you.
Everything. I can taste everything that's in there.
So
It's like a symphony, you know, where you can hear every instrument. That is really, really good. That's really nice.
as you see, making English or British food is not as difficult as it seems to be.
Yeah, and the texture on the carrots, they're not too soft as you'd expect. It doesn't mean they're undercooked, but they are. They still have a texture to them. So, like everything in this, is sort of like it's kept this texture as well. You know, often when you put things in the oven, you know they turn to mush, and it hasn't. For example, here's a piece of salmon. Okay, I shouldn't touch it because it is too hot. But I can still, you know, put my fork to it without, you know, without crushing it, you know.
Yeah, but it's done.
But it's done. But it's done, exactly. And you know, that's finding the balance, isn't it? You know, it's like with a carrot. Take a piece of carrot. Yeah, it takes some effort to put the fork in, but it's not. You know, it's not undercooked. But it's still kept its structure. And honestly, it's amazing. Potatoes. Here's a scallop. I have a scallop here. Now, this for me really is the test. And I want to do this with a. I'll do it with my fork. Okay. Wow. Okay. Right. This is amazing. As soon as I opened up, I could smell it. Okay, now look at that. That is exactly how a scallop should taste. Should look, really. It's... Look at that. That's finery, isn't it? Of course, how it tastes is more important.
Usually, all the chefs say if it's overdone, it's like rubber.
Taste it yourself. Honestly, that's really, really beautiful. And it's been a long time since I've had scallops because, you know, I live in Germany. It's not the done thing to eat scallops, but...
Well, it's expensive stuff.
Wow, I tell you what, that's amazing. I'm really, really happy. It's been a long time since I've eaten something that good. And, you know, we travel a lot, don't we? And we go to different places. And for me, that's definitely, okay, we're only 13 days into, or 12 days into 2018, but so far this is the best thing I've eaten this year. Okay, that might change throughout the year, I don't know, but...
No, it won't change. I made it. Hello.
Yeah, but you're going to make me other stuff, aren't you? Throughout the year,
maybe.
So. But really, that's incredible. I mean, wow. Right. I know it looks a bit greedy, I'm just going to shove it all in because that really is delicious. And, wow. When people say that they have mouth gasms and that kind of stuff, and you think they're exaggerating, but honestly, this is really beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. That is absolutely incredible.
Well,
that's perfect as well. You know, this. I think it was a good idea, wasn't it, to sear the scallops first before we put them in. It's made the difference.
Yeah.
It's soft. It's nothing like rubber, which is what you might expect if you overcook a scallop, but it's amazing, really.
So as I said in the beginning, I'm quite good in making British food. And I think I'm not exaggerating when I say this is something I can really...
No, honestly, it's everything in this is perfect, really. And, you know, if I was one of those grumpy twats who, grumpy buggers, sorry, I edited that out. I might say something about the mash being a little bit lumpy, but it was a mash that I made. So.
And you made it for me because I like lumps.
Because you like lumps, yeah. Okay. And honestly, it's like a symphony. I can taste everything in this dish. And not many people can say that when they make food. Really. Incredible.
Okay, your last words on this?
We'll have it again at least 5 or 6 times this year. Really. I mean, if you'd like to make that for me more often, okay, obviously not every day or every week, but definitely once every 2 months, I'd be really, really happy with eating that all the time. Really.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, one pointer. What I would do to make it better, I would use I'd put some white wine in it, but I know you don't like that, so
No, I will never cook with wine because I absolutely don't like it. And I know there are people outside, they also don't like to put alcohol in food. So of course you can do this dish with white wine, like you usually do with fish, but because I want to eat it as well, so I didn't put any wine inside.
Exactly. I mean, you know, it's absolutely spotless. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. It doesn't need to have that white wine in there. If I did it myself, I would put white wine in there, because, you know, it would complement it. But honestly, absolutely fantastic. And, you know, I could have a glass of white wine with this, and then I wouldn't be missing out at all. Okay, so, yeah, well done, Rebecca. Thank you very much. And, yeah, hopefully thank you for my help as well. No, but it is brilliant, really, honestly.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay. So, guys, that concludes the video of fish pie. And, yeah, I don't know if Rebecca wants to say a few words. Okay, please do. Okay, yeah, sorry, I had to take the camera away.
Yeah, you don't think. Yeah, well, this is my fish pie, my first attempt on this, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it, quite pleased. So if you like to reproduce it, do it and tell me how it was.
Okay, and will we be able to find the recipe online, or will that remain your secret?
Well, I can't really put the recipe online because, as I said earlier, I don't work with exact measurements. So everything I put in there was just, yeah, a feeling.
Okay, and for somebody who's not experienced with fish dishes, how could they get along with making such a dish? Is there anything they have to look out for, like maybe not adding too much salt or just adding a little bit of seasoning at a time?
No, it's always do it as you like to do it. It's always a question of taste. Some people like more salt, other people less, and I think it's more important to always taste everything, so you know if it's exactly how you want it.
Okay, good. And do you have any final words then for the people watching the video?
Any final words? Try it out yourself and tell me how it was.
Okay. And I have one other question. Do you need any specialist equipment to make food as good as this?
Well, as you could see, the only things I was using was a whisk, a spoon, form, a pot, all these things you usually have in your kitchen. So nothing special, no special tool or anything like this. And for the mashed potato, you don't need to make these crowns if you don't have this bag. You can also just put it on top and make a nice picture with a fork on it.
Okay, so good words of advice. Okay, so I think that really does conclude the video now. I hope you enjoyed watching it, at least as much as we enjoyed making the video.
And as much as we enjoy eating the pie now.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the focus is on the pie. Okay, so
So, see you next time. Bye bye.
bye.